Welcome to the podcast, the story of Bangladesh fight for independence. Hi, I am Jarin Tasmin Jeba from English department as a host, and she is Sharaf Anjum from MSJ as an interviewee. Today our podcast is about liberation war of Bangladesh. We will talk about some major factors of our liberation war within 5 to 7 minutes. Hope that you will enjoy our podcast. Hi Sharaf Anjum.
Hello, nice to meet you, Jeba.
Thank you. Hope that you are doing well. How do you feel to participate in my podcast?
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
As we don't have much time, so let's go to our discussion.
Of course.
My first question is, what are the key events that shaped the liberation war of Bangladesh and how did they contribute to the nation's independence?
Thanks, Jeba, for your question. Let's journey through the key events of the liberation war of Bangladesh in simple terms. First, you have to start with March 7th speech. Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman gave a powerful speech to urge people for standing up against justice on 7th March. The entirety of March was jam-packed with events and political activities. Soon after, on March 25, 1971, the Pakistani army launched Operation Searchlight. They started attacking innocent people, leading to chaos and fear across Bangladesh. Despite the violence, on March 26, 1971, Bangladesh declared itself independent. The event was pretty dramatic how the declaration of independence was recorded and then presented to the population of Bangladesh. Our brave freedom fighters, known as Mukti Bahini, began the war against the Pakistani army. They used surprise attacks and hit-and-run tactics to weaken the enemy. The international politics was manipulated in many ways. India helped to retrieve our rights. Then happened the surrender and victory on the December 16, 1971. These are the events that shaped the destiny of Bangladesh.
Yeah, my second question is, what were India's motivations for supporting the Mukti Bahini during the war and how did their involvement impact the outcome?
India was deeply concerned about the humanitarian crisis unfolding in Bangladesh by the Pakistani military. Millions of refugees fled to India seeking safety. The shared cultural and linguistic ties with people of East Pakistan strengthened its sense of solidarity with the independence movement. Now, there was a geopolitical consideration and a question of security. In the meantime, they could also get engaged in a war, which was not what anyone wanted.
Yeah, I also think so that India has not any major self-interest. They gave shelter around 1 crore refugee and gave trained Mukti Bahini. As a neighbor country, they contributed their best for us. My third question for you, what were the atrocities committed by the Pakistan military during the Bangladesh Liberation War and how did they shape the course of history?
The genesis of 1971 Bangladesh genocide lies in Pakistan's systematic repression of Bengali democratic aspirations. Despite constituting the majority, Bengalis faced marginalization in key sectors, prompting military actions following the refusal to transfer power after the 1970 general election.
They didn't want to hand over the power to East Pakistan.
The genocide epitomizes modern genocide rooted in exclusionary nationalism, with the Pakistan military striving to eradicate Bengali identity and descent. Initiated with Operation Searchlight on March 25, the genocide unfolded with atrocities ranging from mass killings to sexual violence, targeting civilians, students, and intellectuals. International media reported varying death tolls as mass killings persisted, culminating in the surrender of Pakistani forces on December 16.
Why were intellectuals targeted for assassinations on December 14, 1907, and what impact did their loss have on Bangladesh, do you think?
Okay, the events of December 14, 1971, known as the Murdered Intellectuals Day in Bangladesh, marked one of the darkest chapters of the Bangladesh Liberation War. The loss of these intellectuals remains a profound tragedy and stark a reminder of the brutality and inhumanity of war. Reports from various sources indicate that around 1,070 intellectuals were killed in the targeted attacks on December 14, 1971. The victims included academics, journalists, physicians, lawyers, and other professionals who were perceived as threats to the Pakistani military's control over East Pakistan. The killings were part of a larger campaign of violence and genocide by the Pakistani military and their local collaborators during the war.
Definitely. Their aim was to demolish the entire intellectual class of Bangladesh. Martyred Intellectuals Day ensures that the world never forgets their contributions towards liberation war. And my last question to you in this podcast, how did women contributed to the struggle for independence in Bangladesh? Who was Jahanara Imam and what role did she play in the fight for Bangladesh's independence?
In Bangladesh, women played significant roles in shaping the nation's destiny, particularly during the Liberation War of 1971. Despite their essential involvement in various aspects of the struggle for independence, their stories frequently remain untold or misinterpreted, even misrepresented. Jahanara Imam epitomized the resilience and courage of Bangladeshi women during the Liberation War. Despite societal barriers hindering women's education and activism, Imam fearlessly pursued her career as a teacher and a social activist. As the mother of a freedom fighter, she not only supported her son's decision to join the war but also actively facilitated his training, displaying unwavering commitment to the cause of independence, resulting in the capture and disappearance of her son and husband. Despite enduring personal tragedy, Imam persisted in her activism, advocating for the trial of war criminals and seeking justice for the war's victims. Through her book, Ekattorik Dinguli, and relentless advocacy, she ensured that the atrocities of the war were not forgotten and inspired future generations to uphold the principles of justice and equality.
Yeah, think about how much hatred the people of this country had for Pakistan army. It wasn't just a war, it was a revolution of common people, a revolution like the Russian Revolution, the Chinese Revolution War, where a foreign power fell brutally in front of the masses. Thank you, Sharaf, for joining me in the podcast. It has been a delight to have this discussion with you. Hope to see you again. Have a nice day.
Thank you for having me as your partner. It's been a pleasure working with you.